chi, 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 ka, ka, chi, 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 Yummy, chi, 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 and I see chi, 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 and I see chi, 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 and I see chi, 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 Yummy, chi, 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 Yummy, chi.
ऑन है गेम ऑन है चालू करो Hello and welcome to our new episode of Bharatiya Janata podcast. Today we have Aditya and Kimaya. Aditya, who was not here, he was out on a sabbatical in our last episode. So before I go to Kimaya, I'll quickly have a brief with Aditya. So Aditya, how was Kailasa?
Kailasa is exceptional. I think they are in need of scientists now.
Uh,
Scientists who will cook up stories for Nityananda.
नहीं, छोटे छोटे में पापा बोले थे मेरे को कि बेटा बड़ो के आईएएस बनना, पर हुआ नहीं मेरे से। क्या कैलासा में कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी
है
मिलेगा क्या अपर कास्ट भी हूँ मैं?
कैलासा में और द अदर एडवांटेज इज इंग्लिश उनका स्टेट लैंग्वेज है तो
संस्कृत भी है
इंग्लिश
लेकिन
संस्कृत हिंदी एंड तमिल सो
हिंदी नहीं है।
हिंदी
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 नहीं है।
नहीं है अच्छा तो
नहीं, इंग्लिश संस्कृत तमिल। मोदी जी के साथ बहुत बड़ा गेम खेला है इसने।
मोदी जी ने तो भगाया गुजरात गुजरात पुलिस ढूंढ रहा है उसको भी प्रोबब्ली दैट इज द रीजन बट वहाँ है स्कोप हमारे लिए कैलासा में
तो as you guys are aware, our sponsor for today's episode is the beautiful country of Kailasa. And with that, Kimaya, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good. So, one of the big reasons that we have you on this episode is, I hope you know, because you're omnipotent, because you have an engineering and an MBA, and that's like basically you have
Yes,
everything.
exactly.
So, as you know, the usual format of our episode, we just shoot the shit and we talk about whatever is happening along with whatever we feel about it. So, we will do the same. Before we start talking, I mean, we will primarily cover NRC and all the related things to it. Before we start talking, I just wanted to mention the fact that over the last few days, there have been many protests across India, and in these protests, many people have come up with different kind of posters with messages and stuff. And one thing that has really pained me is that all these posters have attacked one of our very avid listeners. And I just want to say that specifically when I saw that poster, Neem ka patta kadwa hai and all of that, Amit Shah uncle, you are not that.
we were referring
We
to a
love you
different
here.
Amit there
We love
yeah
you. Okay. With that, I'll go back to Kimaya. Kimaya, can you give us a brief background of your life, the moment that took you to this moment where you're recording a podcast with us?
Sure. So, thanks for having me first of all. I grew up in India in Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and after that, after my schooling, I did my undergrad in Pune, and I worked there for a couple of years. And for the past 2 years, I've been in the US, and I'm working in the tech sector. And like, I'm a converted bhakt, like many of the people here, and therefore I am
Or deconverted
a
Bhakt rather.
converted bhakt. And so here I am on this podcast that I'm told five
Yeah,
people
This
listen
is
to. But still,
yeah, this is the peak of your life.
exactly.
Remember that. From here, everything is
Peak of
downfall.
my fame
Yeah, basically, this is like celebrityhood. As soon as you leave, like as soon as we are done with this episode, be ready to sign some autographs.
or selfies.
Yeah. हाँ, अभी सेल्फीज के साथ ऐसा है ना कि ये रेडियो वाली बात है।
Oh, wow.
हम लोग
Oh, we have this for radio.
um,
Yeah.
basically, Aditya, I know we keep pointing to your Harvard because that's your peak before this peak. But a brief background from you will not hurt us as well.
my peak generally used to be getting a seat in the Mumbai locals like that used to be my peak in
Which
life
means you're from Mumbai,
yeah
which people
yeah
know. Um, So correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. You grew up in Mumbai. You did your engineering from a regular college जहाँ से Infosys और TCS में hiring होती है.
वो भी नहीं होता है
But you
मेरा.
did not go
माय
that
कॉलेज वाज इवन
route.
वर्स. हमारे यहाँ पे वो भी ठीक से नहीं होता था.
Infosys TCS भी
इन्फोसिस
नहीं होता
टीसीएस
था.
भी ठीक से नहीं होता था. मतलब वो उनका भी लोअर एंड के लोग थे हम लोग. काफ़ी बुरा कॉलेज. मतलब
कि मैं तुम्हारे कॉलेज से कहाँ जाते थे लोग?
मतलब मेरा सॉर्ट ऑफ वो था कि मेजॉरिटी तो इन्फोसिस टीसीएस ही जाते थे, बट वो टॉपर टाइप थोड़ा ठीक ठाक जगह चले जाते थे.
हमारे यहाँ के टॉपर
अच्छा.
को इन्फोसिस टीसीएस 20,000 रुपये भी नहीं देता था ठीक से. मतलब वी वर.
The funny thing is कि Infosys TCS अभी भी किसी को 20,000 रुपये नहीं देता.
ओके. सो ठीक है. वी यूज्ड टू थिंक कि हम लोगों का सेल्फ एस्टीम काफ़ी लो है उसकी वजह से. तो ठीक है. हाँ. सो आई डिड माई इंजीनियरिंग इन बॉम्बे. Then I was this confused soul. I was looking for whether to do a master's abroad or a PhD. तो सब कुछ 50-50 था. तो I decided to do. I gave GATE and then I did my MTech in IIT. So this is.
मटका.
So I was a matka there for a couple of years and उसी टाइम पे फिर then I got interested in doing research. So I continued with the same group for the next 5 years through my PhD. And for a couple of years I am here now in Boston.
Okay. So Kimaya, you mentioned that you are a deconverted Bhakt. Let us go back in time where you used to be a Bhakt and explain to us how, like, your feelings towards Modi ji and Amit uncle back then.
आई मीन अमित अंकल तो इतना उस टाइम पे फोरग्राउंड में नहीं थे, बट
ये भी है.
हाँ, बट मोदी जी, आई थॉट ही वाज सम काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ मसाया type of human. And well, like it started with basically my family was like that. My family was always right leaning. I mean, they were weird in the sense
Mhm.
that they were pretty liberal socially, but they still leaned sort of the BJP side when it came to like voting.
When you say was, is it not is or is it
They
was?
have very recently changed. Like very recently, as in after like maybe these NRC protests.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. चलो कोई तो
हाँ.
बदला.
So
But what, like, so let's stop there for a moment. So I am assuming this is like during your engineering
yeah,
and all time,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So first of all, tell me, how did you beyond your family, like एक कोई moment होगा ना कि हाँ मोदी जी seems like the correct kind of politician and this ideology seems to be the right kind of ideology. How did you start identifying with it? Or like, I mean, I'm sure it was not a moment.
Yeah.
It was like through time, but how?
So personally, I started identifying with it after the entire coverage of like the Gujarat model and like how everything is just fantastic there. Like the roads are amazing, development is amazing, everything is great. Uh,
वो शंघाई वाला बस स्टैंड भी.
हाँ हाँ सब सब.
Yeah.
तो
शांघाई वाला. हाँ हाँ
हाँ,
तो.
so that's how I was like, okay, this is like the guy who will take India forward. It wasn't so much around his like anti-Muslim stuff. And when 2000,
But you were aware of the
yeah, yeah,
2002
I was
thing and all of
aware,
that,
but
right?
when 2002 happened, I was pretty young. I was 11, and so I kind of like ignore. I mean, I just forgot about it. And then Modi ji also changed his image from like the RSS guy to like this development dude.
दाढ़ी वाड़ी की स्टाइल भी
हाँ हाँ
चेंज हुई है ना
सब
टाइम
बिल्कुल
में.
वो मेकओवर हो गया उनका. तो
तो no, no, go on and then I'll
yeah,
ask you
so then
something.
that's why I became like a fan of his, and I had like I completely ignored like his past around like the anti-Muslim past and everything.
But were you one of those people who'd go on Facebook and post things about how Modi ji is going to be good, like Facebook activist type? Were you that?
Like, thankfully, I was never that, but I would very vehemently argue for Modi ji, like, and
On Facebook,
yeah,
let's say,
on
comment
Facebook, like
section.
I would comment if on people's like posts and stuff, and I would have like arguments with people. I would have like face to face also arguments with like all of these app supporters and people like that. So I would
So during one of like during these type of arguments, I'm sure people must bring up anti-Muslim
Yeah.
stuff, right? Like ki Modi is. So how would you argue against that?
Well, I would argue against that, saying that like every politician in India is problematic. Like, all,
Which is
yeah,
true.
I would be like, all of them are corrupt. So, like, why are you fixated on this one thing? And like, why can't you see all of the development? Why can't? And he was given a clean chit by the court. So, like, now he's innocent. Why is everybody fixated on this one thing? So, I was like pretty set on the fact that he was this person who would take India, make India great again.
ऐसा बोलना नहीं चाहिए खुद के ऊपर मतलब समझ में हो जाता है. So quickly, Aditya. So same question, but I know you were never a nationalist. But how did you identify what ideas do you align
So
with?
I was never a nationalist, but I was also of this weird, that useless, atypical kind of a person, a political kind of a person. So
Hashtag
hashtag
privilege.
privilege. So for a long time, I think till up to say the Anna movement, I didn't really have like any big political opinions. So I used to read. So I during my engineering is when I started reading up a lot. So that is when I started reading history. I started reading William Dalrymple and Ram Guha and stuff like that. So I can roughly say that I started identifying with the liberal side of me, the other idea of India which doesn't survive, which we are fighting for right now. That I stood for that. Uh,
Comatose.
so I vaguely can say that I identified with that through that, because the other thing is, my in my household we were not a BJP household, so that helped
Lucky,
somehow.
lucky.
So kahin na kahin the you carry a lot of biases straight from what your family thinks of something, right? So that is where you get a lot of your political opinions initially. So I think there is some carryover from there, and then with over all the reading that I did, and also from the city. So largely I had a right through from school till all the way till engineering, had very eclectic classrooms, very diverse people from diverse backgrounds and stuff. So that genuinely helped. So
Mhm.
the religious bigotry side probably could never have affected me.
But your family is religious, right? I mean,
Family is orthodox religious, but for some reason they don't stand by the other side of the religion. So I don't know how that works. I would even call them like socially conservative but politically liberal. It's a weird
can
combo.
I ask you? So it's a weird question, but growing up, did your parents have Muslim friends?
Yeah, my father did. So my dad has a background which is also quite. It is atypical in a sense that for a family with privilege, the privilege is now. But growing up, he used to work as a laborer type, shop floor worker type job for a long time. So he has a lot of friends from that strata, from that era. So he had to earn for his own college fees and stuff. So from back then, so he had a lot of friends, and friends were also from diverse backgrounds, and the place where we still stay till today was actually a chawl back then. So this is like an outskirts of Bombay, and it was not Bombay back then, and it still is like contentious, technically not Bombay, Dombivli. And
Hmm.
the area where we used to stay was like a chawl, which then later went for redevelopment and became a housing society and stuff. So our locality is also very diverse. So I thank my stars for all this, actually.
So you bring out a very fair point that ultimately our parents and their politics does impact us. And so, Kimaya, like, I mean, apart from very recently, like, so you were in India during
Yeah.
2014, right? So you voted for Thai, I
Yes,
guess.
Sai. No, actually not Sai. I was
Yeah.
in Pune at the time. I voted for the whoever was the BJP guy in Pune, whose name I forget.
पुणे में तो चार पांच अलग अलग लोकसभा सीट्स होंगी. But over the period of between 2014 to 2019, when you slowly moved away from that
Yeah.
ideology, but your parents were still kind of linked to it, did it um, change the way you looked at your parents in any way?
It did. I mean, so first of all, in terms of the religious aspect of it, my family is
Hmm.
weird in the sense that they have never really been devout Hindus. Like my dad is almost an atheist. My mom doesn't care for it. My grandparents used to live with us,
Hmm.
and they were pretty religious, but they used to do their own thing. Like we never joined in and they never forced us. So I always thought religiously my parents were pretty progressive. But when they started supporting, like after Modi came to power, all of this Gau Raksha stuff, I
Seriously?
mean,
Interesting. No,
yeah,
yeah.
as in not supporting, but they were like, they made the whole fringe element excuse. Then they were fine with like Yogi Adityanath's appointment. So that's when I was like, I was really surprised because I had always thought that they were religiously pretty progressive. But it turns out they were politically, religiously not very progressive.
So, for you, p- p- so let's go back a little. During the whole Akhlaq event,
Yeah.
how did you react to it at a personal level? Like in the sense कि क्या सोचा, क्या दिमाग में क्या चल रहा हुआ तब जब वो हुआ event?
I was horrified. By that time, I had like converted.
क्या बात कर? So it's like you were barely
Yeah. Yeah.
Short
there.
stay.
क्या
I
Short
यार?
stay visa.
I was very I was
Come on यार.
converted. हाँ,
H1 थे.
B1 था वो. मतलब मेरा
अच्छा.
2014 में वो elect हुआ मोदी, and I must have converted by like 2015 late-ish.
So what happened? Why did you convert?
Because I I just saw, I guess one thing I'll say about myself, which is sort of like a redeeming quality, is that at least I didn't abandon like my logical thinking skills, you know. And so earlier I had thought that Modi will be like this economic reformer and he'll like do many amazing things for the economy. But then it turned out that he was basically following the old Congress model. He was continuing like Narega, he did all of their old socialist, whatever policies. And so I was like, why is this happening? And then there was all of these like Hindu right rogue elements. Then there was Yogi Adityanath. Then I was like, this guy is like not interested in any sort of development at all. He's like more interested in all of these like majoritarian things. And so I pretty quickly I was like, okay, I don't know about this person. And I on social media also I like then I started following like the more
Mhm.
liberal folks, and I was exposed to like more of that ideology as well.
So something that happens, especially after you become a little older when I say, I mean even into 20s basically, is कि you get an
Yeah.
identity, you identify with something, and then if you get news that is opposing it, you become more like strong fisted in what you believe
Yeah.
in. um, you try and look for stuff that confirms what you believe
Yeah.
in. um, so I find it interesting that when you say that you did not leave the rational side of your brain, because it's not. I don't really think that a lot of Modi fans are being irrational as much as I think that they are just afraid of being proven
Yeah.
wrong, and that is why they will hold on to like anything that proves them right. They look for things that prove them
Yeah.
right.
In fact, another thing that tells
So.
you like which side of the
Mhm.
divide you stand for is the kind of things you pick out and read from a newspaper or online. I think that tells you a lot about the kind of things that appeal to you in general.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. So and my assumption, to be honest, is even with the whole Modi thing, is that a lot of Modi supporters converted after the demonetization
Yeah.
fiasco. And they were pretty much solidly with Modi before that, or neutral till then. So the fact that you gave him just a year to prove himself is kind of unfair, to be honest. Amit uncle will not be
Yeah.
happy with
I
you.
mean, I guess that if you look at the timeline, it was like it started late 2015, and then by demonetization, I was like completely like anti almost Modi.
मतलब उन लोगों को 70 साल दिया और आप मोदी जी के लिए 2 साल भी नहीं दे सकते.
हाँ, क्या? और मोदी जी ने तो बोला था जला दो
हाँ,
मुझे, 50
50 दिन
दिन में
बाद
कुछ नहीं हुआ था.
17 तक तो टाइम दे देते हैं उनको. ये गलत है.
हाँ, but like ऐसा मुझे so there is a so I think let's go back. So during your engineering, when did you graduate out of your college?
2013.
So during your engineering, how would you define your politics, or was there anything like? Did you even care much?
I did care. I that time I supported the BJP, and that was mainly because of the like I said, the whole Gujarat model, etc., etc.,
Mm-hmm.
and because also like people in my family supported them during all of the Vajpayee years and everything. So that was the reason, and I never really critically like examined why I supported them. I just did it because like I read a few news reports basically.
Do you like? Do you in general like? Or even then, did you in like reading stuff like not just news reports but other
Yeah,
things
yeah,
as well?
absolutely. But that time, the sort of reading I was doing was more like fiction, and not a ton
Mm-hmm.
of like learning about India or in general like world history or things like that. That I started a little later in life.
So I will go back to Aditya one more time. Aditya, when you were reading Dalrymple and Guha and all of those people, was there ever a moment where? So I guess let me rephrase my question. In the last 10 years, what has been the biggest political opinion where you have flipped?
Flipped from the liberal side to the
Oh,
other side.
no, no, any side to any other side.
I think uh, that's a very difficult question. I can't pinpoint a single. By 2014, I was totally converted. So I knew that I was never going to be a BJP voter. That is something that I'm very clear about.
Were you actively arguing with people
Yes, by
about?
2014 I was. So I think I mentioned it before. So a lot of it was lack of perspective in my case because my engineering school friends were all very similar socioeconomically with their backgrounds, right? So
Just like all of
yeah,
us.
so I never had the opportunity. So I now remember that जब ये reservation anti reservation protest हुआ था, this is
Mhm.
around 2009, right? 2009,
2008,
2008, 9,
0809.
sometime around that. I think that
Huh.
time I had absolutely a very unqualified hate towards reservations back then. I had no understanding of why those things are there in the first place and stuff. So I would have had an opinion which would go well with a Bhakt today in that sense as of today. But from then, I think till 2014, what changed was that I met people from all sorts of backgrounds. So the lab I worked in during my
Mhm.
PhD was a very diverse lab. So I had people from different parts of India and parts of India people who I would never have ever met otherwise. Had I just moved out directly to the US after my BTech, I would have probably
Mhm.
spoken to more of my own kind socioeconomically and ended up being trapped in a limbo. Probably I would have even gotten converted to the other side. I don't know. There was a remotest possibility of that. But through, I think, over a period of time, through all the conversations, getting to know about people's issues in their villages, I vaguely remember a friend of mine. This is around 2011 12. So these are new joinees in the group. Them
Mhm.
mentioning to me about what it feels to be a tribal in Jharkhand but going into the house of an upper caste. So I've heard of stories of that kind where he used to say how the utensils in which they were served food would always be charred and black. So this is stories from Jharkhand. These are so
Hmm.
apparently each time someone from the tribal belt or a lower caste would be served food, they would burn the entire utensil, the plates and
Wow.
the glasses and the stuff like that. So he vaguely I remember him mentioning the kind of humiliation one feels when you have to eat food in something like that, and these are his parents' office colleagues he was talking about. So those are the kind of conversations which made me rethink as to the kind of things that the everyday practices at home, the kind of stuff that it stands for. So I think that's where my political opinion started forming. This is like 2011, 12, around that time. So by the time it was the 2014 elections, I could never have stood for something like Modi, because a lot of dinner table conversations in the hostel mess at IIT, that also formed a lot of my opinions, because through those conversations what I could identify was what I do not stand for more than what I stand for. So that is basically it.
It's
Yeah.
it's interesting, so and maybe this Kimaya, you'll be better able to answer that. But growing up in a smaller town, I mean, which is clearly not Mumbai,
Yeah.
right? And growing up in an environment where people are mostly from your own socioeconomic background, and in most cases from your own religious background, it is. Is like you hear a lot of things which can be classified as almost anti-Muslim, um,
Yeah.
and it's easier to kind of, because you're not really getting to hear a lot of the things from the other side as well. Do you remember how was the overall environment around you outside of your home during your engineering as well as like high school days, vis-a-vis regarding people who were not like you? You know what I
Yeah.
like, Muslims and Dalits and
Yeah,
all.
definitely. So when I was in Indore in school, the environment was like you
Mhm.
said, everyone was a Hindu upper caste like me in my school. Maybe there were like one or
Was there a Muslim in your class? Quick, weird question,
yeah,
but
there
was there a
was
Muslim in your
like
class?
one person out of like 300. So like in all of the sections, Milake, there was like maybe
Hmm.
like one or two people. That's it. Uh,
And during your school days, did you ever have a friend who was Muslim or Christian or Dalit?
no, no one at all.
And did it change in Pune?
It changed in Pune in terms of like the caste. Like so my in my college there were a lot of so my college was basically a women's college, and
Hmm.
because of that, because it was a women's college, there were a lot of girls there coming from sort of smaller villages, etc. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times uh, people don't send their daughters to co-ed colleges because they think there are boys, etc. uh, so they are reluctant.
Haha, India,
Yeah.
hai, obviously.
So in my college, where there were a lot of girls like that, so that's where I got exposed to more of like people from different caste and class. But in terms of religion, it was still very very homogenous. Like the first Muslim friends I had were after I started working after undergrad. So after I graduated.
But and do you classify these friends like friends बहुत होते हैं अपने, right? Do you have did you have friends from the Muslim community, for example, who you'd classify as close
Yeah,
friends?
so I got friends like that, like I said, who are close friends after I graduated, but when that was when I was like 22.
So like is this before or after 2014 is what I'm trying to figure
It's
out.
before 2014, so this is like, but like
तो फिर तुम्हारे उनके साथ के डिस्कशंस कैसे होते थे?
I was kind of, this is like so embarrassing. I was kind of like an idiot because because like
Mhm.
there were those guys would bring up, at least one of them was sort of pretty political, and he was sort of an AAP
Hmm.
supporter, and he would bring up like Modi's communal past, etc. And I would still be like in denial or be like, give him a chance, etc. He's the only chance India has. And now that I think about it, I feel highly embarrassed. But yeah, that's the kind of person I was.
It's there's nothing to be embarrassed about. So I did my engineering a bit before you, and I remember it. I used to live like initially I used to live in hostel. Then some of our friends we used to live off campus. Anyway, I had so my roommate was a Muslim, and my first ever Muslim friend in my life. This is 2006, 2007. So like even like Modi is still not a national phenomena. And back then I had such a huge argument with this guy where I ended up saying things like, yes, Muslims have subjugated us for 1,000 years, and this guy will ensure that there is proper
Amit
justice.
Malviya stuff.
Exactly. And so if like it's me who has said things like that. So there's nothing really that could be more embarrassing than that. Um, but I often find this a common thread and very interesting that a lot of people who do kind of change um, do that because they are able to humanize that other community in their eyes. Because most people, like for example my parents or your parents, they don't really have Muslim friends. If they even if they know Muslims, they know them in a very transactory basis where they're doing some business with them, they're
Yeah.
exchanging goods or car mechanics, the worst example ever. But the moment that you start developing friendships with someone who belongs from that community is when you start to real see it from uh, a different lens, I'd say. But even then, I know people who are still are ardent Modi supporters and have Muslim friends, and their rationale is यार ये अलग है, ये उनके जैसा
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah.
है.
Yeah, people in my family have this weird logic that, like, my mom's side of the family is unique in the sense that they grew up in a Muslim majority area, in a place called
Mhm.
Aurangabad, Maharashtra. And so they had
Mhm.
a lot of interaction with Muslims. So my mama would give this weird reasoning that Muslims are individually great but collectively bad, which was like makes no sense. But yeah, they rationalized
This
that.
is an exactly the same argument that a lot of my extended family makes. I have heard this before. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have never heard this. I have heard weird arguments like I don't even want to say these things out and about. Like basically, if you guys go up and read the Nazi literature about Jews, I have heard those kind of arguments coming from people for Muslims, which is, I mean, I don't know. Like it's basically the way propaganda has succeeded in uh,
That,
dehumanizing a group.
just to add to that, so if I now just try and put all the pieces together, so I didn't go to a very elite school. So growing up, so my classroom had,
भाई तू बॉम्बे में
नहीं
था,
नहीं नहीं,
बॉम्बे
बॉम्बे
में.
सिटी का नहीं ना. So this is Bombay has like many Bombays in it, right? So
India has
हाँ,
many
तो
Indias
वैसे
in
ही
it.
बॉम्बे
I
हैज
get it.
मेनी बॉम्बे. सो बॉम्बे का, वी आर फ्रॉम अ सैटेलाइट सबर्बन बॉम्बे, बट माई क्लासरूम वॉज वेरी एक्लेक्टिक बिकॉज मेरे साथ में अ लॉट ऑफ माई क्लासमेट्स, आई हैव अ फ्यू क्लासमेट्स जो लोग सुबह न्यूज़पेपर डालने का काम, एंड आई हैड अ कपल ऑफ क्लासमेट्स हुज फादर्स यूज्ड टू फ्लावर्स, फ्लावर मार्केट जो सिटी में है वहाँ पे दे यूज्ड टू सेल फ्लावर्स फॉर अ लिविंग. सो all sorts of people were in my classroom, and as so a lot of minorities also were in my class growing up. So that sense of say unknown nahi tha. So that fear of the unknown, of okay, the dehumanizing element would probably not have worked on me because I had grown up around a lot of different people. So that is one potential reason.
Your good luck is that your parents kind of never
पेरेंट्स का
had
तो
that,
था
right?
ही, मतलब फ्रॉम देयर साइड आई कुडंट हैव गॉटन बिगेटरी, बट even for a kid to have the opportunity to say share a classroom space with many different kinds of people, uh, that is an underrated thing in society. So now all my cousins and their kids, so their kids go to schools which are now not of the not similar in ethos. They go to schools in which there will be only kids of the elites studying and kids of a certain section of society studying. So हम लोगों के केस में स्कूल वैसा नहीं था, so that also helped.
तुम्हारे स्कूल में एडमिशन के लिए तुम्हारे मम्मी पापा का इंटरव्यू नहीं हुआ मतलब?
हम लोगों का ये सरकारी था, सेमी सरकारी वैसा टाइप का, फंडेड स्कूल, एडेड स्कूल था, गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल वैसा. और number of English medium schools in Dombivli at that time were like 3 or 4. A couple of them were like slightly elite school bus type schools. हम लोगों के स्कूल में वो कुछ भी नहीं था, so we were considered like
स्कूल बस भी
स्कूल
नहीं
बस
था?
भी नहीं था, तो चल के जाओ चल के
क्या
आओ
पैदल पैदल?
वैसा टाइप का. तो
मिड डे मील मिलता था
मिड
क्या?
डे मील नहीं मिलता था, वो लेवल का भी स्कूल नहीं था, म्युनिसिपल स्कूल भी नहीं था. इट वाज समवेयर इन बिटवीन, बट समवेयर टुवर्ड्स द एकदम आम आदमी टाइप स्कूल. So I think that helped a lot. And the same happens when you go to a hostel and you share dinner
Yeah.
table space with people. You get to listen to a lot of bigotry also, and that's when you identify what you do not stand for. That is as important as knowing what you stand for, actually.
Which brings me to another question to so when you, it's like over time, I'm sure you've expressed your opinions to your extended family and people who've known you forever basically. Have any of them expressed surprise, rage at what you are saying?
Well, yes. I mean, and since I sort of like until I was a bhakt, everything was fine because every
अरे भक्त नहीं थी तुम. You were not a
yeah,
bhakt. You were,
whatever.
I don't know.
No, I was.
You
I
are a
was for
supporter.
a long time, sort of. If you include like pre 2014 era also, but anyway. So until I was sort of agreeing with them, they were fine. But then after I changed my ideology, they sort of there was a lot of surprise, and then there was pushback as well, and then they would say things like, "Oh, she's become like a Muslim sympathizer, OSC supporter."
ओवैसी सपोर्ट सीधे सीधे
Yeah.
मतलब कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ रहे
Uh,
तो.
they're like, so I've heard all of it, and honestly, I haven't argued with them that much because I just kind of want to keep things cordial, which is, I don't know, that's also a sign of privilege only. But yeah, whenever I have expressed opinion, there's always some argument that's broken out, and I've gotten frustrated with this.
Do you, and don't answer me if you don't want to, but do you identify yourself as religious?
No, not really.
So like do like atheist agnostic type कुछ?
Agnostic, I'd say.
So of course ये भी change हुआ होगा right over time. So how did like what were these things happening in parallel?
Yeah, so like I said, in terms of religiosity, I think I was always the same because my parents were like that. Like I said, they were, in terms of practicing Hinduism, they were like completely not devout. Like my dad was not at all interested. My mom was barely interested. So we would go to temples.
But cultural Hindu, right?
Cultural
I
Hindu,
mean,
which is like, I don't know what that means, but they were culturally Hindu.
ये आदित्य रंगनाथन को जाके आदित्य रंगनाथन बोलता हूँ मैं बार बार. I'm so
तुमने
sorry.
मेरे को उसके साथ ब्रैकेट कर दिया है जस्ट बिकॉज आई शेयर माय लास्ट नेम विद दैट गाय. ये गलत हुआ है बहुत.
Yeah.
उनको जाके बताओ ये.
Yeah.
बताओ उनको कि there is no such thing as a cultural Hindu.
आनंद रंगाई.
ऐसे 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 एक्सेल शीट्स निकलेंगे ना.
I actually recently read Stranger to History by Atish Taseer, and usme talks
I
about
love that book.
being culturally Muslim. So in that sense, exactly in that sense, my family was culturally Hindu.
I love that
Yeah,
book. That's
it's a great.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah. Anyway, so so then religion. See, the thing with Hinduism is that there is no Friday prayers or Sunday mass, right? But there are, so I'm assuming that caste wise you come from the
Yeah.
Brahmin, right? So is your family vegetarian? Strange question, but
They are, but they're fine with like people eating meat. Like they know I eat meat, etc., and they're fine with it.
Did you always eat, or when
I
did you start?
started when I was a kid, like 12, 13, and they were fine with it. So it's there. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
That's
that,
that's not usually what you will
yeah.
see. No, Aditya, do you eat meat?
Nahi.
I've never asked
So
you that. You don't?
I obviously I came from a very religious family, so meat was not part of our diet. तो वो तो शुरू से ही नहीं था. But over a period of time, then I had my own rationale for not eating meat. So now,
नहीं
but I
यार.
don't eat. So now the rationale is not religion, but more more to do with my own explanation for why
I
I don't
Yeah.
eat.
understand.
So there
I
is
under it.
no, मतलब I don't know. मतलब I never tried it. So the time I went from not eating meat for religious reasons, there was a time. So till 2010 11, I was probably practicing Hindu at that point. So temple going types. ठीक है. So from there till now, I have completely switched off the religious side of me. There is no religion left in me,
Yeah.
but the vegetarian side of me stayed. So
But that doesn't mean that my parents, like, my family is extremely casteist. It's just that they're liberal in weird ways. Like, so.
So give me some examples.
Well, I mean, there's always this talk. I mean, like Aditya talked about reservations, right? They're completely against reservations. There's this whole narrative about how Brahmins are actually the ones who are being persecuted and how nobody cares about it. And then, of course, there's like the usual how, in Indian families, like the house help or anybody else, we used to have like separate utensils. There was always this pride around, like, if somebody got married, there was this pride around, like, oh, this other person is a Brahmin, etc. As opposed to if they were like lower caste, it was be like, oh god, he or she is lower
I mean,
caste. So
धर्म भ्रष्ट हो गया.
that's very. I mean, ask Aditya. Aditya also believes in all that. Aditya believes that Brahmins are being persecuted. Aditya, tell us about your organization, that Janeu Klux Klan.
This has been fed to us for a long time too. So especially, so we are Tambrams. Who,
So, what is the before you say that, what is the most conservative opinion that your parents have about something?
as Kimaya just said, I think to do with caste definitely at some level. Uh, but even there, I think my parents have evolved over time. I think through a lot of regular conversations with me. So as I evolved, I think they've also shown a will to evolve. So, but the most conservative would be, to begin with, they would have been very conservative when it comes to marriages and stuff. So, but even then they have changed. So I cannot really point out one particular this thing to do with that.
अच्छा, अगर अपन
I
अपने इस
think
एपिसोड का नाम जेन्यू क्लक्स क्लैन रखेंगे तो क्या एप्पल बैन कर देगा एपिसोड?
नहीं क्यों.
नहीं, just as curious.
अच्छा तो
Go
the
on though.
most conservative would be to do with vegetarianism, I think.
So, like, touch
Purity of food and concepts.
अच्छा, for you. So let's say, will you use a spoon that has been put in a curry which had non-veg?
Yeah, totally. The thing is, I for a long time had these kind of inhibitions when it came to late engineering phases and stuff. But when once I have been in IIT and stuff, I think all of that went away. Now I am none of that left in me. I have absolutely no clue how that happened.
So, going back to Kimaya, how so you ate non-veg at 12, 13? This episode is potentially just becoming Brahminism, about Brahminism. But anyway, so when you were 12, 13 and you ate meat for the first time, like, how and why did your parents like let you do that?
that's because we have an NRI branch of the family who are like really cool. Um, yeah.
Acha.
So they were visiting and their children would eat everything. So they were like, they offered it to me and I asked
Oh.
my mom and she was like, okay, have it. And that's how I started sort of having it. And my parents were like sort of cool with it that way. But yeah.
Interesting. I mean, s- yeah, I guess उस वक्त overtly रोकने का कोई तरीका नहीं है. So some more examples from both of you about how you guys have seen caste play, even though in terms of India, we'd still consider your families
Liberal.
socially modern, is I guess the word. So, Kimaya first.
Well, I mean, the biggest one was reservations, like we talked about, and there was also a lot of like casteist slurs in the family, which I didn't really even know they were casteist until much later. But sort of like swear words, which were caste names, which I won't say, but
Yeah, yeah, across the board hota hai.
those kind of things. And in general, just a lot of pride about the fact that we are Brahmins and we.
Does your dad, does your dad wear the thread?
Uh, he doesn't as much, but he wears it in on like religious occasions and stuff. But most men in my family wear thread. Yeah,
And do do you have like a brother?
I don't have a brother, but my cousins wear them.
So they've had the whole Upnayan and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
that. Okay, nice, cool, cool.
I
So,
had a really grand Upanayan.
so do you have the thread?
I currently do not, but depending on the situation, I take it out. So, in the sense वो रखा होता है कहीं पे. So if there is a family
Mhm.
function type चीज जहाँ दिखावे के लिए करना है तो just to not be confrontational with my mom, I at that point of time I have to take it out. But कभी अगर भूल गया तो it's a disaster. So
Oh. So again, I mean, it's interesting, right, that your family is not really a BJP supporter or anything, but these things do matter
these
to
things
them.
do matter.
How do
The
you?
traditional cultural symbolism of it is unmissable in my family. That part is still there. More from my mother's side, my dad is a little bit more flexible because he was the person who has actually he has a lot of exposure to the rest of India. My mom on the other hand has grown up in a very segregated family, in a very Tambram heavy locality of Bombay when she grew up, and then she moved to this other side of the city which is not very homogeneous
Mhm.
socially. So she has had a bit of adjustment to actually go through, and over a period of time she has evolved. But when I was growing up, she was at her most orthodox as opposed to what she is now. So so the way it is right now, I think she would eat food in a non-vegetarian household. However, 10 years ago she wouldn't have. So the ideas of purity of food and say even things like on holy occasions pyaz or lesun nahi khate, and those kind of things also she would follow.
How about you,
I do
Kimaya?
I do like
No, no, I'm asking
okay.
Kimaya, like your family, like holy occasion में तुम लोग प्याज व्याज खाते हो?
Holy occasions, no. So that way they are religious. Like holy occasions, may we refrain from like putting pyaz and stuff. So that much they do. But like that's only like their religiosity is only limited to like religious occasions or.
तुम लोग की बातों से मुझे पता है क्या, वो स्वदेश मूवी में एक सीन याद है जो कभी नहीं जाती उसी को जाती कहते हैं,
Mm-hmm.
वो याद आ रहा है।
But just to add to
नहीं वो।
that, हाँ, एक और चीज भी
हम्म,
है. So there are other symbolic things which I now it now strikes me जो जो सब dilute होने में बहुत time लगा, which was like my mother would wash the अगर sofa है और sofa का कोई cover है, and if there is say the domestic help or painter या anyone of that kind would come and sit, laborer class का कोई, तो they'd be all good okay with them. So deal with them in a very humane way and stuff when they are at home. Okay, dealing with them khana dena and asking them to take rest and all that would be fine, matlab at most levels. But once they
हम्म,
have left wo sara kapda, then she would just wash them. So and this continues, and the same happens when I go for a haircut growing up. After you come back from the barber shop, there will be a treatment of you as an untouchable. So I was basically untouchable till I took a shower. समझ में आ रहा है? मतलब I don't know if this is
Yeah,
very
हम्म,
yeah, makes
weird.
sense.
So
That
once you
happens in my family when you come back from a funeral.
वो तो है ही, funeral का तो है ही,
Yeah.
वो भी है.
How about cup plates? Like तुम लोगों के घर में अलग अलग कप प्लेट्स हैं क्या बाहर, स्पेशली लाइक लेबर या मेड्स वगैरह जैसे लोग हैं?
पहले हुआ करता था, अभी वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मतलब काफ़ी बहुत मेहनत लगा है सब आर्ग्यू करते करते इन चीज़ों को डाइल्यूट करने में, बट वो भी अभी आज के तारीख में भी ऑन मोस्ट डेज दे आर ओके, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू से अमावस के दिन देर इज सम श्राद्ध और सम स्टफ, दैट डे दे विल स्विच बैक टू देयर ओल्डर सेल्स, मोर कंजर्वेटिव सेल्स.
मेरे घर में तो है, अभी भी है. For the maids and the other labor, they have separate glasses for water and everything.
तो व्हेन यू कम बैक फ्रॉम अ हेयर कट ना, दी ये सब.
बट उसके मेरे घर में भी है हेयर कट वाला, लेकिन उसके लिए मेरे घर में जो अगेन मैंने there are many things that are castes that happen and we never are able to identify that they are, but like for मेरे घर में उसका लॉजिक हेयर कट का ये दिया गया था कि अभी बाल हैं पूरी बॉडी में,
फैल जाएगा
एंड
वहाँ.
इफ फैल जाएगा. इज इट?
बट आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स दैट अलोन. सो अगर वो अकेला रीजन था तो देन यू कुड हैव वॉकड अराउंड और फिर बाथरूम चले जाओ. मेरे घर में कपड़ा तक जो है ना, नहाने के बाद जो नया कपड़ा तुम पहनोगे, माई मदर वुड एंश्योर दैट जो पहना हुआ कपड़ा है while you have gone for a haircut is entirely drenched in water. उसको एक अंदर एक पानी का बकेट रखा हुआ था, तो उसमें पूरा डुबाओ and then it is taken out. My assumption is, all these years I have never confronted this, whether there is a casteist angle to it. My assumption is that barbers are considered to be of a lower strata.
हाँ हाँ,
And
या दे
and
आर लोअर
and
क्लास.
so ये argument मुझे कब चमका पता है कि much later one of my uncles, my mother's elder brother, is also a convert. He's a social convert, growing up in a very orthodox setup, my mother's elder brother, and much later he has started questioning all these practices. So he once came out in the open and said that, see, these are all things which I cannot get rid of, but I know it is wrong, that the origin of these things are basically casteist and there is no rational argument to that to explain that. I know it is wrong, but I that paranoia and that inhibition of not doing it, I cannot get rid of that. So somewhere I get that watch is, these people continue to do it and they can't fully get rid of it because they've just grown up in that setup basically.
Are there any other, especially, I guess, especially being a female, that you notice that you can clearly say are casteist or even misogynistic, that happen under the pretense of cultural or religious
Science, sometimes
motives?
they'll try and give you a scientific argument.
अरे misogynistic, तो there is like a whole book you.
अलग
हाँ,
पॉडकास्ट क्या?
मतलब there's like the first big one is menstruation. When you're menstruating,
तो उसमें पूजा घर में you
पूजा
don't
घर
go?
में you don't go. Depending on which house there is. My house you can't go to पूजा घर, you can't go to temple. A lot of places you
Okay.
can't go to the kitchen also. You are just have to sit in a corner. Like in my house, if there is
Sit in a
yeah
corner.
corner like away from like what like the center of the house or whatever. Yeah, and in my house also, if there's like a puja and puja के बाद खाना होता है, right, जिसमें सब बैठ के खाते हैं मिलके. So if you're menstruating, you can't eat with everyone. You have to go and eat separately, which is
So did you ever question it?
yeah.
At least recently.
Yeah, I that part I questioned like when I was a kid only because I used to find it kind of
Weird.
like weird and embarrassing also because like there are 100 people in your house and everybody knows like this one girl is sitting and eating separately. You feel like kind of like an untouchable, which is like I know this is like a privileged thing to say, but
I know,
you
but
feel
yeah,
like
I get you.
nobody wants.
So how was that argument taken? Like how did they react?
So the women, at least my mom was very sympathetic. Like in at least it was like if it was only like 4 or 5 people, like my immediate family, she would try and stand up for me. But if it was like a whole extended family, she would be like, "बेटा एक ही तो whatever थोड़े दिन time की बात है कर लो. We don't want to argue and stuff." But yeah, that was the first time I became kind of like feminist also, like.
मेरा यही एक थॉट प्रोसेस है कि यार स्पेशली लाइक नॉर्थ इंडिया में females should be the first group of people to come out as agnostic, because there are so many things that are so anti them. Uh, I Anyway, so let's say from your experience, through your journey, if you were to give some pointers on how to change someone who's a Modi fan, what would that be, if there are any things that you've thought of?
Wow. Well,
Wow.
it also depends on their age. I feel like if they're like our parents' age, it's much more difficult because they have been in like that same mindset for so many years now, and they are being fed daily on WhatsApp and Facebook, like all of these like propaganda stuff, that it's very difficult to change them. And but you just have to be like persistent about it, and sort of maybe give like personal examples, like around, like I give examples of like discrimination against Indians in the US, which is not as much as like black people or anything as NRI bhakts would like to claim, but or like racism, etc. And I'm like, what is happening to like Muslims or Dalits in India happens to me tomorrow, will you justify it, etc. So that sort of change. So you kind of have to appeal to their emotional side sometimes, I feel. And with the younger generation, sometimes like data works. Like like with demonetization, etc. I converted many people by saying that, like, look, we haven't achieved anything in terms of economic growth or any other reform, so why did we do this? Can you give me one good reason? So yeah.
No, fair point. So, keeping the same theme, and I know we've already spent 56 odd minutes talking about ourselves, but the same theme, अगर हम माइनॉरिटीज़ को पाकिस्तानी माइनॉरिटीज़ और बांग्लादेशी और अफगानी माइनॉरिटीज़ को एक सेफ स्पेस देना चाहते हैं, तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है आदित्य? हाँ,
एक ही देश
एक ही तो देश है उनके पास, तो प्रॉब्लम क्या
ये
बताओ?
है कि जब एक देश का बंटवारा हो गया था ना 1947 में, अलग देश बना के दे दिया था उन लोगों को, तो व्हाई डू द मुस्लिम्स वांट इंडिया? वही प्रॉब्लम है, मतलब
हाँ, बट अभी तो ये आर्ग्यूमेंट, ये थोड़ा कोई भक्त तुम्हें ये आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं देगा। भक्त तुम्हें आर्ग्यूमेंट ये दे रहा है कि वो हिंदूज को जो परसिक्यूट जो हिंदूज को किया जा रहा है, उनको आने में देने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
उनको देने में किसी को क्या प्रॉब्लम है? प्रॉब्लम तो इस बात से है कि मुसलमान नहीं आ जाना चाहिए वहां से। दैट इज व्हाट द बेसिक आर्गुमेंट इज, राइट?
क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली लाइक 2014 के बाद से मुसलमान इंडिया में आने को मर रहे हैं यार।
मतलब पीपल आर क्यूइंग अप,
मुस्लिम्स स्पेशली,
इनके दिमाग में they live in a utopian world. So I think this is something which I mentioned earlier today, so which I want to build on. So for a lot of these bhakts, they see Modi ji as the CEO and they see India as a company, basically, right? So if you talk to a lot of bhakts who so if you also we would have all met this one uncle who goes around saying that इंडिया में ना डिक्टेटर आ जाना चाहिए।
सुभाष चंद्र बोस की बात करते हैं।
Have you met? हाँ, सुभाष चंद्र बोस, लाइक गलत हो गया कि नेहरू आ गया। Have you met any of them? And a lot of them have reverence for Indira Gandhi also because of that.
मिला, sorry
हाँ, नहीं वो भी होता है। You just scratch the surface. The only Congress leader that Bhakts and BJP can generally stand and they look up to is Indira Gandhi.
Yep.
They hate Nehru more than they hate Indira. At least
that is true. That is true. They hate Nehru, then they hate Nehru, they hate Rajiv, they have Rahul, Sonia, and Indira maybe is at the lowest. I agree to that. But उसका reason
that family. और संजय गांधी की तो बात ही नहीं होती है। कभी नोटिस किया है? सबसे बड़ा टायरेंट जो है, उसके नाम पे बॉम्बे में जो संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क इज नेम्ड आफ्टर हिम। दैट इज वन प्लेस जहाँ पे नाम बदल के कुछ भी कर दो, आई वुड बी ओके विद इट। बट संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क का आज तक नाम नहीं बदला।
वलकर नेशनल पार्क चलेगा।
हाँ कुछ
गुरु
भी
गोलवलकर
चलेगा.
भी चलेगा.
सावरकर भी कर दो उसको. It doesn't
अरे
matter.
हाँ, ये तो एक नया
Like
अलग
for
एंगल है.
like.
एनीवे, you go on. Sorry.
तो हाँ तो so where was I? So हाँ, so this idea, I have spoken to a lot of people. They say that सिंगापुर को देखो, एंड देयर एग्जाम्पल्स वुड ऑलवेज बी ऑफ अ सिटी स्टेट काइंड ऑफ अ स्ट्रक्चर, जहाँ पे अ वेरी रेजिमेंटल अथॉरिटेरियन regime कैन वर्क. मे बी इट कैन वर्क, दैट इज, but they look at a country or a nation as a company, and the PM and the head of state as a CEO. But little do they understand that the more complex a setup gets, the harder it is to control top down, right? So ये argument कि you can have selective filters for nationality doesn't doesn't genuinely work when it comes to a big nation. You can't basically filter out people on the basis of 4 parameters that you want to identify. People don't become citizens that way.
No, I completely agree.
And
But I
in a company maybe you can screen people based on क्या qualifications है and what
exactly.
you are looking for. You may have the design of an ideal employee, and then you can choose people on that basis. A nation can't afford to do that,
Yeah, you.
and that is essentially what they want from a nation in their minds. And in this case, employment criterion का equivalent would be religion
The
for
funny
them.
thing is कि if like going by your argument, if a citizen should be clear cut like a proper employee of a multinational corporation, the CEO of this company is graduated in entire political science, which does not quite fit into the whole narrative. But Kimai, since you come from Maharashtrian household and Aditya brought up Savarkar's name, how are these figures looked at in your family? Because also Maharashtrians have an affinity to RSS as well, because a lot of RSS founding is, I mean, it's Maharashtrian, right? Maharashtrian Brahmin at that.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, Savarkar is revered in my family. Like, I cannot say one thing. If I say anything against Savarkar, they'll disown me. Like,
Mhm.
I can call Modi an idiot and they'll be displeased, but they'll be still be fine. But if I say anything against Savarkar, they'll go away.
So
So,
who's the greatest? Just say for a Bengali, right? Subhash Chandra Bose is like the greatest freedom figure. Who is that in for a Marathi?
well, the greatest figure is Shivaji, King
हाँ हाँ वो तो
Shivaji.
खैर हाँ, but like for our freedom struggle,
In freedom
yeah.
fighter, for freedom fighter, it would be Savarkar, I think. I mean, I'm not
Lokmanya
sure.
Tilak, right?
Lokmanya Tilak, and actually
क्या
Savarkar is
क्या
for the upper
enunciation है तुम
caste.
लोगों का बाकी. हाँ, go on, sorry.
Sorry. So Savarkar would be for the upper caste, at least the Brahmins, and then Lokmanya Tilak would be the other big one, I would say.
My school, funnily, even recently when I went to my school, so there is this, generally you have these classrooms with portraits of paintings by kids of national leaders, right? इंडिपेंडेंस डे, रिपब्लिक डे के दिन बच्चे बनाते हैं और वो
Mhm.
टंगाया जाता है दीवार पे. सो आई रिसेंटली सॉ नेहरू, सावरकर, तिलक एंड अंबेडकर on the same wall
Imagine Savarkar.
a
How
couple of
how
years
does
back.
your family, or how does a Maharashtrian Brahmin look at Ambedkar?
They have completely they completely obliterate his caste identity. That's what my family does. So my family only looks at him as a Maharashtrian who wrote the Indian Constitution. So he is a great man. But they completely ignored the fact that he was Dalit, that he spoke against caste, that we converted to Buddhism. They simply
He grew up
ignored
in
that.
Mahu.
या ही ग्रो अप इन महू. ही महू का नाम चेंज करके अम्बेडकर नगर भी कर
अच्छा कर
दिया.
दिया है क्या?
हाँ, मतलब करने वाले थे,
अच्छा.
अब पता
So
नहीं उसको
for
महू
our
ही बना
listeners,
दिया.
I made this point because Mahu is like basically Indore. But yeah, go on.
So
Sorry.
yeah,
So Ambedkar is great, and he's an honorary Brahmin. Let me
yeah,
say
yeah,
that.
basically.
How did Aditya in Bombay? तो खैर there is a huge like influx or क्या बोलना चाहिए, pot of mixing where all castes and everything mix. So Ambedkar being revered, I don't find it any strange. Um, So, but growing up, were you like in the I feel this is me, huh? In the last 5 7 years, especially since the JNU first JNU Azadi, uh,
Hmm.
Ambedkar and his identity has come in much more of a forefront than it was before. So growing up, did you ever do you have any memories of uh, uh, reading Ambedkar, getting to know about Ambedkar?
Not reading the quote unquote controversial writings of Ambedkar when it comes to Hinduism, that happened much later. Quote unquote being the anti-caste angle and his mentions, like the more say radical views of Ambedkar is not something I read growing up. But Ambedkar and the caste association is something which is unmissable in Bombay because of the Ambedkar Jayanti, the huge gatherings that happen at Shivaji Park and so on. So that's an every year thing. So it's a conscious thing in your head. The association of Ambedkar with the Dalits is not something you can miss in Bombay, actually, growing up. So that awareness was always there. The appropriation of Ambedkar as a Dalit icon is not something you can miss growing up in Bombay.
Okay, going back. Mhm.
Unless you are from South Bombay or a
अब
Bandrai,
फिर दुनिया ही
then
अलग है
it's a
ना. फिर तो
hmm.
anyway, going back to the NRC CAB discussion. So we've seen a flurry of protests over the last few days. We record this on the 20th December, 20 December, and we've seen a flurry of protests, and we've seen police brutalities. Today, news came from, or is coming from Daryaganj, that some people are seriously injured. In Assam, a few people have died. Let me go to Kimaya first. How do you see, like, what do you see as the end game of all of this, and how do you see this unfolding in the next few weeks, basically?
Honestly, I don't think they'll. I mean, in the next few weeks, I see it sort of fizzling down, because this is sort of a spontaneous protest.
Hmm.
So it's like students, professionals. There's no organizational support. So how long can they sustain it without like going back to their livelihood? So that will definitely happen, and I don't think they will roll back the CAA or anything like that. But I'm still glad that it happened, because I think at least in terms of the NRC now they'll have to at least rethink it, or like sort of not link it with CAB, or they'll have to do something drastic. I is what I believe.
I think, um, I mean, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. Apart from maybe that last bit, and Aditya, I think that in the end, all of this, or maybe I'm becoming very cynical, but I think in the end, these things end up helping BJP electorally. What do you feel about that?
I don't think what else can the BJP gain electorally. Who else are they going to win over through brutality now?
यार ये
Because
so
the
here's this thing. I mean, before you say anything, so I used to think this before 2019 as well, right? कि अभी बीजेपी को और कहाँ से एक्स्ट्रा मिलेगा, right? Because who is like कि oh last 5 years में मोदी जी ने जो किया उस डिमोनेटाइजेशन के बाद, तब तो मैं बीजेपी को वोट दूंगा, but they managed to win more, right? And they're continuously managing to, even in Maharashtra, they won more than they, so anyway.
No, but I mean there is also has to be an upper bound to that, right? So you can't like keep being authoritarian and not risk losing people. So I think with NRC and CAA, at least the NRC bit of it might not just be restricted or localized to Muslims alone. So a lot of the poorer sections who have gone through one round of demonetization will have the fear that something like this might result in them losing their citizenship. Especially there is always this lingering fear when it comes to making documents. So a lot of poor Indians, if you just speak to them, have this phobia of actually going through the entire process of getting a new document done. And if you add one more to the list, after Aadhaar having been that for all these years now, the hottest document in town, I think this will be counterproductive at some level. They might lose out on a little more than just Muslims because of this. And the fact that a protest of this magnitude took place, and something which is pan India, which was not seen in the past 5 to 6 years, despite them having been equally draconian in a lot of other cases, we never had a pan India coalescence of this kind. So, on that front, there is hope. So, I think they have more to lose out of this. So, the only thing which the BJP can do, and knowing Amit Bhai, I think he will not track back on this. So the only thing which they can do is get the Supreme Court to dilute it down in some way.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that I'm talking of the Supreme Court like a puppet now.
But our institutions have, I don't know, I didn't like, we never really trusted them a lot. Like there is a general distrust of institutions that has been even before Modi. But I think in the last few years, the institutions have gotten weaker and weaker. Especially, I mean, look at the way police has acted in these recent protests, and how it's almost like police is basically the enemy of the citizen. Um, have you like, so I guess this question is to Kimaya. Like, forget about the last few years. Have you ever felt like that you cannot trust the institutions before, especially when you used to be a little, let's say, pro BJP? How was your view of the institutions back then? Like, did you trust the court and or the police?
I definitely didn't trust the police. I mean, I thought that, like, from whatever interactions I'd had, they'd always ask for bribes or like threaten or things like that. So most of my interactions with the police were negative. So I always thought that, like our Guru Shri Abhinandan Sikri
हाँ,
says that they are like
निक्कू भैया.
all, huh, you know, out. They're basically like not there to help people at all. The courts also I didn't have a great view of, only because all of these news of like justice being delayed, people like, or rich people being let off, all of it. But the courts, I still had a decent amount of faith in. I would be like, okay, they are like slow and whatever, but they'll come to the right conclusion, especially like high courts and Supreme Court, etc. But that's really been shaken in the Modi era.
So, I mhm,
Something to add on that police front,
sure.
if I may. So I think all this brutality is not just restricted to the police, and you see this right across. Anyone with authority in India behaves the same way. Have you had this
Fa-
experience before?
Yeah.
Like
Families,
I
man.
have, while traveling in locals, I used to see this TC. If you had, so very often in the first class, you would have someone who is just, you can just look at people, they just look at people, profile them, and depending on how you dress up, their response to a person not having ticket would go from asking for a fine to directly slapping them in some cases. So people with authority behave the same way in all, across all lines in India. So I don't think it is restricted to only the police. uh, Traffic cops behave the same way. So I don't know what
I
it is with
cast
authority in
cast.
India.
I mean,
Yeah.
Caste also.
caste is. I mean, I think the reason that authorities, even our fathers, for example, um,
Hmm.
it's a lot because we growing up we always see hierarchy in everything, and because we see hierarchy in everything, like both of you, tell me this: how many times have you heard something similar to this statement that मैं तो अपने पापा के सामने कुछ नहीं बोलता, our father saying that, या मैं तो मेरे बड़े भैया के सामने मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा. So
Hmm.
like, just because someone is older than you, they have an authority over you, which negates your own opinions as well. Uh,
Correct. And there is always this constant. So you are on the lookout for an authority even when there shouldn't be one.
that's why you look for
So
dictator. I mean, authoritarian.
that's why you look for a dictator, and all this. look for people looking out for a powerful figure at the top. I think it stems from there,
Yeah.
because for a nation you're looking for a dad like
So
figure
I
basically.
will. So during these protests, and this is to you, Aditya. During these protests, something that is very out there is that Muslims are protesting as Muslims. I'm not I'm not commenting on whether it is good or bad, but like in places like AMU, there were slogans like "Jamia se nata kya la ilaha illallah," right? How
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on this, and how do you see this? Because when I see these things, I am for Muslims asserting their identity. I think this is high time they should, but I think this will be a very good propaganda tool for. Um,
That is what exactly I was going to say. I am all for their identity is being preserved, and they should have no shame in actually dressing up as Muslims or sloganeering as Muslims and so on. But when it comes to this particular issue, I'm pretty sure how that will be used by the BJP and its fan base.
it
Essentially, it will end up being
like
counterproductive,
today, like
because it makes it much easier for them to profile and label and pick out people. That's what they'll do it for,
Yeah.
use it for.
But do you
So
guys think that, like, with the pan India nature of these protests, and I mean, unless you're completely blind, you'd see that all of these lakhs of people, not all of them would be Muslim. Do you still think that, like, the BJP base would believe that it's a entirely Muslim phenomena?
but how they argue for the rest of the base is that the Muslims are the vile ones, and the Hindu kids and the non-Muslim kids who are part of this are not very well
brainwashed.
informed. So
In
they are
fact,
brainwashed. So
I
that's
visited, and I mean, kill me for that. I visited India Speaks today, and unka argument. India Speaks, for people who are not uninitiated, it's a subreddit in Reddit, which is the conservative India-based subreddit on Reddit. And in India Speaks, their argument was it's cool for non-Muslim kids in college to come out and protest. They don't know about it, but
to be
yeah,
woke
it's
in
cool, so
general.
that is why they're doing it. That's what they are saying. So, Kimaya, do you think, like, what do you feel about this assertive nature of the Muslim students during these protests?
I think that you can't really help it. I mean, there's been an assault on Muslim
Yeah,
identity for like so many years that, I mean, it would be stupid not to expect them to sort of assert their identity. I agree with you guys that it's ultimately going to help sort of the right wing fan base for their propaganda needs. But I mean, I think you can't really do anything about it. And if you're a liberal, you just have to sort of stand with it. And it's
no, no.
right, also completely right.
Yeah, I completely agree. So today, Print did a piece, kya, news piece basically, where Print published an article that said that the government has asked the IITs and IIMs and all the major universities to track students' social media posts um, during these protests. Um, thoughts?
So I have been part of protests in
Mm,
IIT during my PhD, and IIT Bombay, I was surprisingly for an engineering college, had quite a vibrant protest ecosystem. So people would gather very quickly and stuff. And but I remember very recently there being an email circulated in which people had to reveal their social media IDs. So I don't know whether it will deter people, because people of that age tend to rebel more the more you try and enforce something on them. So I don't think that will change anything.
But I mean, if the authorities start taking strict action, like against these students, like suspension or more, it might
What
just
it depends on the person heading it.
yeah.
So this is an anecdote. So we do you remember Smriti ji having circulated something to do with canteens have to be
of course, of
vegetarian or
course.
something a few
Mm,
years back. So I was on campus back then. So it started off with IITB, So the way it was handled back then, so it all boils down to how your dean and your chancellors actually handle this. So at that point, what happened was that IIT has a mess, and you have canteens at night, right? So the mess is largely vegetarian with a couple of non-vegetarian dishes you can prefer to pay for additionally and buy. And at night you have a canteen which is everything in one place, so the same place but with more
Mhm.
non-veg options and so on. So Smriti ji came up with a notice in which they recommended IIT to go for more sattvic food. And the argument, I think it came from the RSS, and she had sent a letter. So our dean of students affairs actually gave a reply saying that for the last 60 years we have never had segregation in terms of food options, and no direct complaint has ever come from our student side. So it depends on how the authorities handle it. So I don't know if your institutes had heads who were RSS and Sanghis basically. I can then see it working. Otherwise, I think it will be okay.
Yeah, I mean, depends. Like BJP is installing vice all their people as vice chancellors in a lot of places, so you never know.
But how do you like stop people? Say the only folks who will come out and protest are the ones who stand for it, right? So you
Yeah,
wouldn't have like the scared ones anyway coming out. So I don't think it that way it will make a
yeah,
use.
that way it won't, but it might be stop people from expressing themselves on social media. They still might come
And
out. The ones who are,
Because
yeah.
because the people who are scared would anyway be scared looking at visuals from other campuses. So I don't think an additional
which
ruling would
reminds
change
me,
anything.
and we have discussed this in our pod a lot of the times, but again, it goes back to this. There is this overwhelming thought even now that ये स्टूडेंट लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट लोग का काम है पढ़ाई लिखाई करना, उन लोग ये क्या सब क्या कर रहे हैं, क्यों पॉलिटिक्स कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट लोग. And this is not just the thought of authorities. This is basically, if you go home and ask your parents, it will be their thought as well. Even in fact, something very interesting happened. Saurav Ganguly, his daughter on Instagram posted a
Hmm.
quote from a Khushwant Singh novel about how RSS's agenda is to divide India.
Hmm.
And then a lot of the people on Twitter were like, great job and all. And then Ganguly tweeted and said that, hey, she's too young to talk about politics when she's above 18. And he was like,
Yeah, that's such an Indian dad
exactly.
response.
So why do,
By the way, there is a follow up on that, a
क्या
recent
हुआ
follow up, a
क्या हुआ
couple of
बताओ.
hours back. Ganguly ने बोला है कि my message is to maintain peace. I will not go into the political issues of it because I have not actually read the bill.
मानना पड़ेगा, बिना स्पाइन के 10,000 रन बनाया बंदे ने वनडे में. हाँ.
इसीलिए बाउंसर नहीं खेलता था.
बट एनीवे, विल नॉट गो देयर. हाँ, उसके लिए दूसरा पॉड है अपने पास.
हाँ,
तो
हाँ.
सो बेसिकली, why why do our parents want to exert such an authority over us, and why do you feel that there is this overwhelming, and let's let Kimaya answer that first, that overwhelming feeling, especially in the STEM students, that our job is to just study and not think about anything around us.
Well, I mean, first of all, though, it's like upbringing only. I mean, I know a lot of our parents grew up in families with not as much means, and so the first thing is always that तुम sort of काम करके नौकरी पकड़ लो, अपना future secure करो, and that's drilled down to you since you're like a very very young child. So that's always in the back of your mind. And with STEM especially, it's you, as we know, like you're not never really exposed to sort of any humanities thought or any other sort of literature. You're completely focused on, your whatever you're doing, so you never get exposed to any other thought. And so that's why I think it's more in the STEM area in general. But I think, yeah, that's the main reason.
I think we should definitely make plans to do an episode from our loving group, beloved group, and get all the females on the pod, because some of them are STEM and some of them are not, and just talk about how being like, how have they received reactions after being openly political. Um, I think we've talked enough And I think if we go beyond this, people will start sleeping just like Aditya slept,
If they haven't already.
just like you slept after the latest episode of our favorite podcast. Um, but before we sign off, Kima, any recommendations? Anything that you're reading
Well,
or any
recommend.
article that you read, anything? Or movie or
Yeah.
anything?
Um, so like I mentioned earlier, Atish Tasir, Strangers to
Yeah, that's a
History.
good book.
is- Yeah, it's a great book, and it's pretty old at this point, but I just read it and I really, really liked it. And it sort of gives you a great history of Islam, and especially in today's times, it's very you can draw parallels with what the
Something
Hindutva folks
something I
are.
remember, and I read it like back in 2013, 2012. But something that I found very interesting was, do you remember that whole thing that where in Iran they have these secret Sai Baba groups?
Hmm.
आदित्य, तुमने पढ़ी ये book?
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. But
I
I've read about it.
Well, it was interesting that, like, in a country which is as mono-religious as
Hmm.
Iran, there are secret groups where people like do yoga and are followers of Sai Baba.
Do you also known as
Sai Baba
Swami
ni Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare Krishna.
yeah, sorry.
Rama? Do you know of, there is another one like this, Swami Ghanananda?
घानानंद, घाना में,
हाँ,
वो तो
Ghana में. Go and
घाना में
search
तो भी
for it.
गांधी जी का
Recommendation.
स्टैचू उन्होंने गिरा दिया.
ओह, तो वहाँ पे एक स्वामी जी हैं, स्वामी घानानंद.
That will
अभी है कि नहीं पता नहीं, बट देयर इज एन एक्चुअल स्वामी जी. नाम भी फिट होता है ना, अच्छा, मतलब आइडेंटिटी भी बता दिया कहाँ से है विदाउट
स्वामी घानानंदा फ्रॉम नाइजीरिया.
नहीं, फ्रॉम गाना इज ही स्टेड ट्रू टू हिज नेशनलिटी.
तुम्हारे जैसा नहीं है मतलब
राष्ट्रभक्त
basically.
है मेरे जैसे.
तुम्हारा रिकमेंडेशन क्या है इस वीक के
But
लिए?
मेरा रिकमेंडेशन है कि आज आई वॉच दिस MP's debate in British Parliament about Boris Johnson's revised Brexit bill. So if you find time, if you have an hour, please go to YouTube and watch that. You'll find the entire parliamentary session
Okay.
on YouTube, and you can map individual figures to their equivalents in India. Very simple.
साध्वी प्रज्ञा मिलेगी.
साध्वी प्रज्ञा की तरह बोलने वाले मिल जाएंगे. मतलब the same skill sets है उन लोगों के पास when they speak, so the same tools they use.
So I will definitely look it up. And we keep saying this. If there is a way to link all these things below our episode description, let's do it.
Yeah, but we never end up doing it.
वो तो कोई इतनी दूर तक सुनता नहीं अपने एपिसोड, क्योंकि आज तक किसी ने बोला नहीं है कि तुमने अपने रिकमेंडेशन. एक बंदे ने मेरे से पूछा था एक बार कि यार वो रिकमेंडेशन वाला लिंक भेज
But
देना.
ये भी तो बात है ना, मतलब कोई अगर अपना पॉडकास्ट सुन रहा है तो एक तो उसके पास टाइम बहुत है, and that person definitely has the time to go and search for it. So
खैर ये भी है. मैं I will go back. My recommendation this week is basically a book by it's a good book. It's by Hannah Arendt, The Origins of Totalitarianism, and she wrote it around fascist Germany, and how you identify those movements. And I just find that book strangely so like relevant, like, and I know it's a cliche almost to compare uh, current regime to that, but I'll just quickly read a quote from that book that I really wanted to read, and you guys tell me how you feel after. This is from that book, huh? In an ever changing, incomprehensible world, the masses had reached the point where they would at the same time believe everything and nothing, think that everything was possible and that nothing was true. Mass propaganda discovered that its audience was ready at all times to believe the worst, no matter how absurd, and did not particularly object to being deceived because it held every statement to be a lie anyhow. The totalitarian mass leaders base their propaganda on the correct psychological assumption that under such conditions, one could make people believe the most fantastic statement one day and trust that if the next day they were given irrefutable proof of their falsehood, they would take refuge in cynicism. instead of deserting the leader who had lied to them. They would protest that they had known all along that the statement was a lie and would admire the leaders for their superior tactical cleverness.
This is Chanakya Niti.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I highly recommend this book.
And I recently went to Israel and I went to the Holocaust Museum there. And out there, they've they have an entire timeline of what happened to the Jews. And as you know, it started with propaganda and stuff. And it was such a chilling experience because it is very, very similar to what's happening to Muslims in India today. It was just very chilling.
There's another book, and I mean on the same subject, and I mean I still recommend the older one, but Hitler's Willing Executioners. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's very interesting in the way it kind of describes how it was not that people were not aware of what is happening. It's just that they were like, ठीक ही तो चल रहा है.
It takes people something really, really bad to
तो
shake
I
themselves
don't
out of
think that.
the stupor.
I mean, really bad एक बार में तो नहीं होता ना. Like we
नहीं होगा, नहीं अभी. See, I am pretty sure that an equivalent of the Holocaust can never happen due to other repercussions.
But it's like the same,
We
right?
can't take it for granted, but they'll do it in other ways. They'll chip brick by brick, and you will never realize that how many of these bricks have been chipped
Like I
away.
honestly think
That's the
that
problem.
I don't think there will be like a Gujarat riot type thing ever again in India. But
Yeah.
the thing is that they don't need to do it because they like जैसे कहते हैं ना कि a death by 1,000 cuts वाला है.
1,000 cuts. That's what they're doing every single day, right? So you first instill fear, and what they're doing by this brutality by the police is trying to convey a message to the rest of the country. That's what they're essentially trying to do, right? So they don't have to do a mass movement of any kind. They can have like 2 or 3 such instances as examples to shoo the others away, and automatically let the other community feel like second class citizens. I think that's what they essentially want to do.
With that great, happy, and positive note, let's conclude today's episode. Thank you, guys.
भारत माता की जय.
जब आपने पूछा है हाउडी मोदी, तो मेरा तो मन कहता है उसका जवाब यही है, भारत में सब अच्छा है. सब चंगा सी